Welcome back, everybody. This is Latin's Fight Picks. Today we will go over the recap for UFC Vegas 92, Barboza versus Murphy. We're doing this on a Sunday again. You know, I did it last Sunday, and even though Sundays are super busy, I really enjoyed getting this video out on Sunday. Still fresh in my mind. Can talk about it. And it was just, I don't know, just felt really good getting it out the next day. It's kind of hard sometimes to recap a video after 2 or 3 days, especially because you lose interest, and also it's just not as fresh in your mind, and you're kind of got to think back, oh, what happened, and did it finish in the first round or beginning a second round, and lots of times that's happened to me. So we're doing it on Sunday and looking forward to it. So let's talk about this. It's fresh in my mind. I'm still emotionally invested in this, so it should be good. As usual, we will go over the card. We'll start from the most to least confident, and we'll talk about what went right, what went wrong, and my opinion about the fights. And I've got a lot of opinions about these fights. So let's start. All right, most confident Yanez, and you know what? He looked good, and of course, he fought Vinicius Salvador, and he definitely dominated him, and he hurt him really bad. Unfortunately, it looked like he wasn't getting up for a while. I actually think that the ref could have stopped it a little sooner. Like, I'm all for the ref stopping it sooner. Like, these refs, sometimes they let it go on a little too long, and sometimes they jump in. Like, you know, how many times you watch a show and I said the refs jump in, and all the guy did was get knocked down and like on his butt, not even down, just on his butt sitting there, and they stopped the fight. This guy's, you know, Salvador's getting pounded, and I thought they could have stopped the fight like, but you know, 5 or 6 punches before that, because he looked like he was in trouble. But nevertheless, you know, they got to just get on top of it. Like, I mean, they got to figure something out. But he was down for quite a while, like, and it was bad. I didn't like that look. Felt very bad for Salvador. But Yen is definitely dominant, and you know, I don't think this is Salvador's division. I think Salvador needs to be the bigger, longer, lankier guy, and you know, get his weight cut right to 125. So really good showing, easy fight to look at. He kind of dominated it. Gatto, another easy fight to look at, dominated that fight. Very confident pick. Gatto looked good at this weight class. Mind you, she had fought just now with Vidal, the lowest level competition. if it's not even low, it's below low. I don't even think she should be in the UFC. But Gatto treated her as such, so she looked good. Hill, I mean, she's 39 and she still doesn't look old. So, and she took it to Pinheiro, and yeah, she did a great job. Pinheiro's, I mean, she's good, but she's not upper echelon good. Hill even took her to the ground and submitted her. I mean, this is Hill's evolution into the MMA. She's good. She's a good striker. She's a good grappler. She's everything. Now, let's move on to this thing. Okay. Now, Ducote, I'm not a big fan of Ducote. And Demopoulos, you know, I'm a fan of Demopoulos' fighting style. I think she's exciting. She throws big bombs. She doesn't care if she gets hit. She makes it into a brawl. I like her fighting style. But I picked Ducote because Ducote's going to outland her, and she's going to outpoint her. And apart from the first round where Demopoulos, you know, threw more punches and went after Ducote, and Ducote stayed patient and stayed within her guard, and you know, was countering. You know, you go into the second round and Ducote takes over, gets her counters right, you know, outstrikes her, outlands her, takes her to the ground. 1-1. Go to the third round. Demopoulos comes out heavy, but Ducote slowly calms down, calms the situation down, counters her, outlands her, takes her down to the ground. I thought for this fight was a Ducote fight. You know, this is goes to show I think there's a serious bias for Demopoulos. And I don't want to hate on her because of the UFC's bullshit, excuse me, but you know, because I like the way she fights, and she goes in there and she tries very hard, and she's an exciting fighter. But she lost that fight. Okay, she last time I bet on Murata, and Demopoulos got the split decision. And again, everyone's there like, well, Murata kept taking her down. Murata wasn't doing enough. And when Demopoulos was up, she was landing the heavier strikes. She was throwing a lot of strikes. Okay, all right. That's how you want to count a victory. Well, you can't do that for this one because Dakota outlanded her and she took her to the ground. And she still lost the split decision to Demopoulos. So that doesn't look good, you know, and you can analyze the fights all you want, but if the judges are going to always side with some favorite, I mean, I guess we could always just stop analyzing and just pick the favorite that they would like to win, and if it's a close fight, you know, she's going to take it. So I was very annoyed because it was the first fight on top of that. I mean, when I saw it was a split decision, I'm there like, why is it a split decision? Okay. And then a split decision to Demopoulos. Why? She didn't outstrike her in the round 2 and 3. She got taken to the ground in round 2 and 3 and controlled for 2 minutes. Why is Demopoulos winning a split decision? Anyways, that's bias, and there's nothing you can do about it. I mean, it doesn't matter where you put her; she's going to lose. But you know, like I thought she was a fairly confident pick, and she won the fight. You know, I'm not even going to take an L for this because it was a robbery. You know. It was just a robbery. I mean, is it the biggest robbery I've ever seen? No. But is it a robbery? Yeah. Because I saw the strike count. I saw the takedowns. I saw the control time. This girl won the fight. You know, I don't care how many haymakers she didn't land all the haymakers. She threw some haymakers. She landed a couple. She didn't outland her. They weren't a greater number. You know, she wasn't hurt. Well, I guess they were both hurt and stung a few times, but it goes both ways, right? Anyways, I was very disappointed. That was, as far as I was concerned, it was a robbery. That was her fight, okay? So, and Demopoulos, now it's starting to look suspicious to me. First split decision, okay, there's maybe a reason. Now, this split decision, the reason they gave doesn't work here for this fight. So, you know, if you're going to have a rules-based order, let us know what the rules are, because every time the fight goes on, the rules change a little bit in what you're looking at, right? Dakota should have won that. And of course, this one, I mean, what are you going to do? Pierre Rodriguez, DQ. Well, you can read what it says here. She clearly won the first round, Rodriguez. She was kicking her butt in the second round. She front kicked her to the face and knocked her down, right? So then she gets on top, and now she's on the ground and pound. And then she goes for a headbutt. Ref warns her, and immediately 1 second later, she puts her head down again. She definitely headbutted her. I'm not going to deny that. But I guarantee you she didn't do it on purpose. There's no way you, as a fighter, going in there and you won the first round. You just knocked this person down. There's only 90 seconds left in the second round. You've got full control over this girl. You won the fight. So, I mean, I guarantee you she made a mistake? Yes. Bad judgment? Yes. Headbutted? Yes. Was it on purpose? No way. I guarantee you it wasn't on purposely done. So that's my point is, it should have been a no contest, because it wasn't a close fight. And then they gave Carnelossi time to recover. Carnelossi wasn't hurt from the headbutt. Carnelossi was hurt before the headbutt. Of course, she's not going to recover. She's got kicked in the chin, kicked in the face, punched down to the ground. I mean, nobody goes down unless you really hurt. And that's what hurt her, not the headbutts to the chin. You know, it wasn't even like it wasn't like a knockout headbutt anyway. So, but nevertheless, it was a headbutt. Not denying that, but that DQ that totally screwed things. And she was a minus 235, minus 390. I mean, she should have been more careful. Yes, but it seems like they were all over. Yeah, let's do this. She's a decent sized favorite. Let's do this. Nudge, nudge, wink, wink. Give him an inch, take a mile. So, anyways, I didn't like that. And Dakota's like, yeah, minus 390 favorite. Yeah, it's could we get away with it? Yeah, let's do this. Nudge, nudge, wink, wink. Like, I mean, I don't trust it. I don't trust the decisions. And this is there's been lots of times where headbutts have happened and the person's winning and the no contest happens. And the last time I've seen a huge favorite where they punched somebody in the back of the head and they DQ'd him. And granted, he shouldn't have punched him in the back of the head. Was what's that guy who fought Brundage? Anyways, he was on top of Brundage, punched him, and he elbowed him to the back of the head. It was, I mean, I know what you're saying. That one was so blatant. Hers, I don't think is as blatant, just because when you're in the guard and you're trying to put your head down and you're not really looking where you're putting your head down, and you don't know if her chin is higher or lower or whichever direction, and you're trying to get it just under the chin, it's excusable because you don't have visual reference when you're putting your head down. You have a rough reference. But that fight, I gotta admit, though, he was looking at him and he elbowed in the back of the head. But nevertheless, they DQ'd him, and he was on his way to winning that fight. And maybe that was a bad reference. So my whole point is, I this one in particular, I don't think she did it on purpose. The ref warned her. She did it again, and she was obviously trying to go underneath her chin, and she was winning the fight. I don't think it should have been a DQ. I think she should have been a no contest, and giving her a chance to Carlos a chance to recover after she just got virtually knocked out was not going to work anyways. She was hurt. So very ticked off about that, because these are the main ones. I mean, they're in the upper 5. So these are the ones where if I get wrong, those are the ones I'm really pissed off about. And sometimes I just make a mistake. But I didn't make a mistake because she actually won the fight. I didn't make a mistake. There was a disqualification. So I'm not even accepting that as a mistake. But I mean, everything was right. The reads were right. But nevertheless, it ruined, like, the parlays that I build will be up to here, or sometimes they'll be over here. But I always want to use my most favorites, the ones that are favored the most in those parlays, right? So, yeah. There's one that did hit that I didn't use them, but I mean, most of the other ones, these girls were the ones I was expecting to win. So that didn't work out. Not happy with those two. Suspicious, very, probably more suspicious, but anyways. Sai came out, and, Tukos looked very confident talking to his corner and everything else. I thought, man, is this guy going to win this fight? Like, he just seems so confident, and then Sai choked him out. So Sai, he's a future fade, okay? And he did look pretty dominant in this fight, but Tukos is not even UFC caliber. And he's definitely a good grappler, and he's a big, tall, long guy, and he's probably hard to get off you. But I've definitely seen him crack, and I think a really good striker with good takedown defense might be able to keep him on the feet long enough. But nevertheless, good call, easy fight for Sai. Williams, easy fight for Williams. Mid-level confidence, KO'd, what's his name, Harris. And it was good. I mean, yeah, I couldn't bet against Williams. Too much power, can take a punch. Harris is dangerous, but he's the kind of fighter that he's explosive, he's dynamic, and he's the kind of guy that can win a fight that he's losing. So, but I have to go with him. Barboza, oh man, and you know what? And not to take anything away from Murphy. Murphy looked really good in this fight, but Barboza looked old in this fight. And when I'm going over the fight, they're like, did Barboza look really old, or did Murphy just do so good? And I think it's a little bit of both. And the reason why I'm thinking like that is because I got to bet on Murphy the next fight, and I got to bet on Barboza the next fight. So if it was all Murphy and it was because he was so good, then the next fight Barboza fights anybody in a slightly lower category, he's going to dominate him. and then Murphy's going to beat anyone in the upper category. But if it was Barboza just looking old, and I keep saying it happens in one fight, and he looked old in this fight. He actually had really good moments. I mean, his kicks to the body were really good, but he didn't throw them, and it wasn't he wasn't even getting countered on those kicks to the body because Murphy was so busy just defending them. And I don't know why he didn't throw anymore. I think he threw 3 to 4 kicks to the body, probably 3, and that was way too little. And when he landed, it was visibly affecting Murphy. There were good shots, and he didn't land on him. And Murphy kept putting a lot of pressure on him, and Barboza wasn't reacting well to the pressure. He looked old. And he looked gassed. So. Good on Murphy. It was not even close. You can't complain about that. But next fight, I mean, again, did Barboza just get old, or is Murphy that devastating? So that's the decision for next time. Alatine Lee. This is our underdog play. He dominated the fight. He was very smart, and he used his wrestling from the start instead of waiting until the later rounds. And here's the thing: he's the only underdog that actually hit, as far as I'm concerned. These 2 underdogs hit, but they're not legitimate. You know, if you picked Dinopolis, you just got an early Christmas present. If you picked Carnelossi, you just got an early Christmas present. They weren't legit. I'm gonna pick the underdog. Those were just lucky decisions based on either biased judging or a disqualification. So if you pick those underdogs, I don't even count those as like, oh, I picked an underdog today. I don't count it. This is the only guy who was an underdog from the start, went out and won the fight fairly. This guy right here. So, and we picked him. So, anyways, moving on. He fought really good, really tough, really durable, weathered the storm. And what was I saying about Rodriguez? It's just something missing. Like, he's so dynamic and he's so good, and I love watching him fight, and there's just something not enough. I don't know what's lacking. Brahimai. Okay. All right. He got dominated and he gassed, and you know what? I was just expecting a little more from him after 2.5-year layoff. He's in a good gym. He would have had the reps. He could have worked on some things. Granted, he did look like he tired on a few of them, but it was usually guys that were really beating on him, right? But he looked tired in this one too. And it's not like Garimbo was really beating on him. I mean, he was wrestling, but this guy, that's what he does. He's a grappler. But it wasn't so much that I'm betting on this guy because I think he's so low level. I just was betting against Garimbo. And if you saw the fight, I mean, Garimbo was controlling this guy on the fence. He wasn't close to hurting him on the feet. He wasn't close to submitting this guy. He was just grinding him on the fence. And the 3 takedowns, there was 3 to 4 takedowns. It wasn't even Garimbo taking him down. This clown was trying to trip him, judo trip him, and every time he would go for the trip and he didn't have it fully locked in, he went for it anyway. And of course, Garimbo, being the longer guy, just fell on top of him. So the takedowns from Garimbo weren't even there. I mean, I can't remember if he took him down one time. But the 4 trips that this guy went for, his own trips, got reversed. And his corner even said, don't go for the judo trips. Don't go for the judo trips. Go for the open mat takedown. And he couldn't do it, of course. And then he got tired in the second round and he couldn't finish taking him down. But Garimbo landed on him and then just kind of stayed on him, right? And then to his credit, he actually was getting up. So, I mean, even though he was tired, he was still getting up. I mean, that doesn't say very much about Garimbo's control on the ground when you got a really tired guy who's too tired and not able to finish tripping you, and you fall on top of him and he gets back up. This is my point, is Garimbo is a fade. Now, again, like Vanessa Delopoulos, this guy, Garimbo, is a sweetheart of the UFC, and they will go out of their way, and I'm sure they're going to pick another super low-level opponent. The moment they go up even one step, I mean, I'm fading Garimbo big time because he's going to lose. So, but, you know, the UFC's not going to give him anybody. I mean, I don't even know who they're going to give him, because this guy was gone for 2.5 years. He's at the bottom level. I mean, they really gotta, what's that, sir? What was the term I'm using for? Look, kind of bottom feed and find the absolutely lowest levels for Garimbo to look good against. So nevertheless, it was a dog shot. There was a narrative behind it. I know Garimbo's a fade. I just started fading him sooner than later. He didn't look that good. I mean, I don't even know. I even made a post like, just leave the UFC. He's at the level where he shouldn't even be there, because he's got to fight guys who aren't even in the UFC, that the UFC brings in to win against. Moving on. Alves. People were surprised I picked Alves, and Alves had his moments, and he kept coming in, and there's opportunities for Alves to catch Abus, and I think Abus is a tough guy, but I really think he can get knocked out. And Alves kept coming after him, and Abus, knowing this, kept taking Alves to the ground. And one thing, I'll give credit where credit is due, Abus definitely has improved his ground game and his ground control, because he was able to stay on top of Alves, who's a really good BJJ. I mean, he was throwing up some good reversals and some good attempts at getting up, like really good attempts. And Abus was just a little too long and a little too knowledgeable, and Alves just barely couldn't get back up. It was close, because if he kept getting back up, he would have a shot at knocking Abus out, which is what I was going for. Is I really think he's dangerous on the feet, and I had a feeling he's going to KO this guy. But Abus kept taking him to the ground. He's improved his ground game, especially his ground control. He looked really good. I mean, I saw him fight against Barolo, and he looks better. I mean, it's obviously something he's been working on, right? So Alves, we went for it, and you never know who Alves is going to fight next, but he's always going to be dangerous. He's going to be hard always to bet against or bet on, just because he's either going to be dynamic and catch somebody, or maybe lose, right? Especially because he's in the middleweight now. Moving on. So I don't mind. Again, I don't mind losing. This guy got old. We were expecting at some point that was going to happen. This guy, we had a big fade on Garimbo because he's not good. This guy, we have to go for it because he's a really good BJJ. But you have another guy in Abus who improved his ground game, was smart, and kept it on the ground, and he didn't manage to land the shot in time. So I don't mind losing these. These ones I do mind, but I mean, it is what it is. This is why they're in the lower half of the picks for confidence. They're in the bottom half, because they were like, well, they could win, but they could also obviously lose. Martinez, and he was a bottom part. I think he's the second biggest underdog, plus 350. And you know what? He almost got the KO. He landed the shot he's supposed to land, and when he got on the ground, he just couldn't get that one final kill shot. He landed a couple of punches, but Nolan, because he was so long, he's kept him off. He should have just thrown him, get it, instead of falling into his guard. He should have get past his legs, threw his legs to the side, kind of like Moda did, and didn't land a whole bunch of punches. And he landed a couple of punches, but they weren't enough for the ref to stop it. And Nolan managed to get enough control where he was able to start to recover. He should have just went past the legs, and it was almost, I mean, at plus 350, and you're going to bet on Nolan at minus 500. This guy almost won. So it was a good pick. Nothing wrong with those picks. These two picks, again, nothing wrong with the picks, but just the decisions and what happened. It was just, well, some things are just out of your control. I mean, you're going to win some, you're going to lose some. And some you're going to have an easier time accepting. But nevertheless, it was a good fight. I appreciate all the comments in the comment section. And please let me know what you think about the fights. And let me know if you disagree with my analysis. I mean, I'm always open to discussions, right? And this is just my analysis. And of course, I'm a little biased because I do bet on the fights. So yeah. So nevertheless, thank you very much for watching. If you like the content, hit like, subscribe if you want to subscribe. We won't be putting out another video till, I think, not this week, but the week after, because there is no fights next week. So we will probably be putting out the video early, not next week, but the week after, the week of the fights. I think that's when I'm going to be putting it out. Unless I get all the analysis done sooner, then I'll do it. But chances are I'll try put it out for the Monday. So, you know, the week before the fight, like a few days. But I should get it all done. And this is the main, 302. This is one, and whenever you deal with these UFC pay-per-views, you're dealing with very well-known fighters. They're actually usually easier to look at and to analyze, just because there's so much tape on those guys, and you've seen them fight before, and you already have a rough idea about who's good at what and everything else, and how you think they're going to match up. So there's only a few real big question marks in you guys that you got to analyze, right? So nevertheless, thank you very much for joining me again. Hit the like button, comment, subscribe, and share the video if you like. And we will see you in 7 or 8 days. Thank you very much. Have a great week.